Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you are all having a good day. Are you ready for new stories? I have 5 for you today. Let's go to the first one. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My 30 male, sister 33 female, has always been difficult and different from the rest of the family members. We were brought up in a traditional conservative family, but she never valued anything our parents tried to teach her. Despite our mother's protest, she dyed her hair pink when she was 13 and had very liberal views that were incompatible with us. Wearing short skirts or shorts, smoking after her 20s, moving in with a guy who ended up taking advantage of her without marrying him first, etc. My parents and I always were there for her and tried hard to change her character, but all was in vain. My parents warned her several times that if she didn't change her ways, didn't think of her future, didn't settle down and have a family, they would leave her with nothing. And I agree with them. She has a degree, has a good-paying job, and is child-free, spends all of her money for her pleasure, has everything to sustain herself. She doesn't need more money. Last year, my dad passed away, and 2 months ago, my mom followed. They left nothing to her. I got 2 houses and a plot of land. When she learned the state of affairs, asked me if I could share my inheritance with her. I refused since my parents left everything to me, knowing that I have 4 kids to raise. I told her that she had been warned several times, and it's her own fault that she was left that way. Were she more compilable, she would have a part of inheritance. She got very angry, called me an a-hole, and went no contact. Should I have shared my parents' wealth with her when I have 4 kids myself? Wait. Your complaint about her moving in with her boyfriend wasn't that he was aggressive. It was that they weren't married? What the duck is wrong with you? Honestly, you and your parents all sound like disgusting judgmental a-holes. Your sister is allowed to make her own life choices. She doesn't need your permission. And withholding an inheritance just because she didn't live her life the way you and your parents wanted is gross. So you're the a-hole, and your parents. You're the a-hole, and a very entitled one at that. It was your choice to have 4 kids, probably more than you can afford if you need this inheritance so bad. Now that's irresponsibility. So sis was a rebel when a teen, but now she's child-free, has a high-paying job, is doing well, and then you intend to punish her for your life decisions. Your parents were the a-holes too, for enabling your responsibility of having 4 children, whereas sister has a good head on her shoulders. So she was punished for not having kids. How fair is that? Something tells me that not only are you the a-hole, but that you never intended to share the money with sis, and only came here expecting support for being a family man with responsibilities of your own choosing. You're the a-hole. You judge her on how she lives her life, thinking that she should be some perfect little automation that mommy and daddy would approve of, and look down on her for not being more like you. Your parents are just as judgmental. Quite frankly, she's better off without you. I'd go no contact too. I'm 64 and have 1 son, Robert, with my late husband, James. Robert is engaged to Sarah, who is also 35. Last Sunday, Sarah and Robert came to my house for dinner. We were chatting and I told them a story about James, who Sarah unfortunately never got to meet. While I was pregnant, James was very excited and insisted on putting together everything, cribs and changing tables, etc. Bless him, but my James was not much of a carpenter. And one day when I was putting Robert in his crib, the whole thing broke. I managed to catch Robert in time, so no harm done, thankfully. After the story, I made a joke along the lines of Sarah never having that problem if they have children, because Robert actually is a carpenter. She burst into tears and asked me why I was being so cruel. I was taken aback and asked her what was wrong, as I certainly hadn't meant to upset her, and I was sorry if I had. She told me they discovered recently that Sarah's infertile, and she would never be able to have children, even with IVF. I apologized profusely and said if I had known, I would never have made a joke about it. James and I struggled with having Robert, and were never able to give him siblings, so I felt awful that I had hurt Sarah like that. The mood was ruined after that, and Robert and Sarah decided to leave early. On Tuesday, I ran into Robert's best friend and his wife while I was out shopping. His wife is good friends with Sarah and seemed unusually cold towards me. I asked why, and she said she hadn't known I was so rude and that I should be ashamed of mocking Sarah's infertility. It turns out that the story has been spread that I viciously insulted Sarah and insinuated she shouldn't marry Robert. The story even got back to our family, and a lot of our relatives are quite upset with me. I apologized when I made the joke, but now I'm wondering if I really did overstep that badly and insult Sarah horribly. I don't want to be a bad mother-in-law, and I get along quite well with Sarah ordinarily. Am I the a-hole here? You made a joke about your late husband's carpentry skills, not your daughter-in-law's infertility, as you were completely unaware of their situation. That Sarah has chosen to make you a villain to everyone who will listen says more about her than it does you. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Since you had no clue your future daughter-in-law was infertile, the comment was completely innocent. Your future daughter-in-law spreading lies about you to friends and family is definitely an a-hole move. Have you tried speaking to your son about this situation? Not the a-hole. You did not accidentally insult your daughter-in-law. You were referencing your son's capability as a carpenter. If you had not been notified of daughter-in-law's infertility, how could you be insulting her? You cannot insult someone about infertility if you do not know they are infertile. Your son and daughter-in-law are the a-holes here, for taking false offense and for getting the whole family involved. My girlfriend is a chef and a self-proclaimed foodie. She has a very refined taste, as she works in fine dining. That's totally fine. I've eaten at her restaurant and her food is delicious. She's an amazing cook. She usually eats at work, so I fend for myself for dinner, which is totally fine. I don't expect her to cook for me. I can cook and generally eat pretty well, but sometimes what I want is just a big greasy double bacon cheeseburger from Wendy's or somewhere else. It's bad for me. It's not fancy, but damn, sometimes it's exactly what I want after a long day. My girlfriend, however, though, expresses massive disgust anytime I eat fast food. She'll say it's disgusting. It's not real food. Basically just shaming me the entire time for daring to eat something so filthy, and she would never stoop so low to eat from somewhere like Wendy's. It's annoying to say the least. I've told her that she comes off a bit pretentious when it comes to food, and I'd appreciate it if she didn't make me feel bad for eating a fast food burger every now and then. She just brushes it off as she went to culinary school, so she knows food. Well, today I swung by her apartment to grab my charger that I forgot the other day. I have a key. Thought she was at work, so I didn't text her I was coming over. We're in the process of moving in together, so she still has her apartment at the moment before anyone asks. And I walk in, and she's eating a double bacon cheeseburger from Wendy's. Where I think I might be the a-hole is I definitely took the chance to gloat and parroted some of the comments that she typically makes to me when I'm eating fast food. I didn't mean it seriously, mostly just to tease her. She didn't take it that way. She had a total meltdown and started bawling, yelling that she was on her period, and threw the burger at me and told me to get the duck out. I didn't know she was on her period, and I wasn't meaning to set her off. She tore me a new a-hole, and I said sorry, but did point out that I only said to her what she said to me previously, so how does she think I feel? Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. What's that saying about glass houses? Oh, right, stay in your lane. Girlfriend needs to stop being so stuck up about food. Yummy is yummy. Not the a-hole. Don't say rude things about what other people like to eat if you aren't ready to hear it back at yourself. I assume at least you won't have to deal with her freaking out when you eat an occasional burger anymore, since she apparently likes them now. Not the a-hole. She knows she was wrong and is embarrassed and is trying to put the blame back on you. You 100% should have called her out on it because she has made you feel bad on multiple occasions for the same exact thing. Not saying you should make her feel bad, but pointing it out like you did is 100% not a problem. I, 21 male, am my parents' only biological child. When I was 6 years old, my parents started the process to adopt children, and by the time I was 8, my parents adopted for the first time. At the time, I thought it would be great, but I had no idea just how much my life would change. They adopted mostly special needs and disabled babies and toddlers, and it was a lot of adjusting. When they first told me they wanted to adopt, they explained it as they wanted to give me brothers and sisters to play with and grow up with and have for the rest of our lives. They said when they were gone, we'd have each other and the families we created. But as it turns out, what actually happened is the majority of the kids had such complex needs that I didn't get these amazing lifelong sibling relationships my parents promised. And instead, I ended up with a place where I needed to be okay with not getting any of my parents' time and ending up as a sort of caretaker for them. When I was an older teen, my parents did adopt 2 kids who have no special needs or disabilities. But the age gap, paired with the resentment that built in me over how much I had to sacrifice, meant I hardly spent any time with them and don't really know them today. I know I probably sound like a jerk. It's something I've battled with for a while. My parents gave these kids love and a home, and took care of them better than they would be being tossed around the system. Yet I can't pretend I'm good with the fact that my life had to change so much. I can't pretend that it doesn't bother me that my parents lied and had always known they were going to sign up to care for kids with these additional needs, and not the picture they painted. I found that out when I was 16. They knew when they started the process. They took extra classes to be trained for severely disabled and special needs kids. Once I moved out, I stopped talking to my parents for a while. Then I told them how they made me feel by taking on so much and turning my world upside down. It did not go well. We didn't talk again for close to 2 years, until they reached out to me recently saying we needed to talk. And when we did meet, they told me they needed me to promise I would take care of the kids if something happened to them, and to help make sure they're okay in the future, and they're gone or incapacitated. I told them I wouldn't, and that I did not want all that responsibility. I told them I had to give up so much as a kid, and they were not going to make me take on the responsibility for several more kids. I pointed out that they had many family members who could do it, and that they would need to ask them. My parents called me selfish and told me I have no idea how good I have it, and how can I reject my little siblings and how much they need their big brother. It did play up on my guilt over how I feel about them being my siblings in the first place, and when I didn't change my mind right away, my parents became very hostile. Now I need to know if I'm the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You aren't responsible. They made a choice. A great choice for those kids, but not for you. And you didn't make that decision. They need to figure out what they are going to do moving forward. Not the a-hole. That's not your burden. They cannot choose that for you. Don't feel guilty. You gave your childhood. Enjoy your adult life and don't entertain them trying to guilt you into this. I'm shocked that this is their plan. It's totally not okay. Not the a-hole. Your parents chose to adopt those children. You didn't. And it's on them to find someone willing to take care of them. It wouldn't be fair to the kids to be with someone who doesn't want them, and it isn't fair to you. Hi, me, 30 male, and fiance, 30 female, are getting married next year. She's been living abroad all of 2022 for a master's degree, so I proposed a few months before fiance left. She always has been very mean and competitive with my younger sister, with no reason. My sister loves her and has no idea my fiance secretly hates her. A few months after we got engaged, my sister got engaged and married a week ago. It was a really nice wedding. She danced with my parents. They had fireworks, the works. Since my fiance was not coming to the wedding, her mother and brother, my future mother-in-law and brother-in-law, came from another town and went to the wedding and met my family, whom they had never met. And my fiance was equally angry that her mother liked my sister. Fiance found out how my sister's wedding was and literally told me she didn't want anything like my sister's wedding. So that means no DJ, no dancing, the same song with my mother, which is her favorite. No fireworks, no outside venue, just because. And I'm really upset, but willing to compromise. Except in the dancing with my mother bit, which is like a really big deal for her, that song, because it was my grandfather's favorite. We had a discussion about it. Fiance's still abroad and set to return next month, so we can't start planning our wedding. And I told fiance I was dancing that song with my mother, and that was it. I was encountered with tears, screaming, and the threat to cancel the wedding. Am I the a-hole? P.S. We've been together 10 years, 11 next year. Not the a-hole, but honestly, don't you think you should think thoroughly if marrying her is worth it? She's making you a huge favor showing her true colors. Believe her and dump her. Your fiance sounds insane. She doesn't want you to have a nice dance with your mom because it was what your sister had? Like, the problem isn't even with your mom, but a third party who will not be involved in the dance. And she is willing to cancel the wedding over this after being together for over a decade? Okay, run, OP, as fast as you can. Your life with this woman goes downhill from here. She is showing you who she is. Believe her. Your sister will be in your life always. If this woman is too, she will make you and your family miserable. Not the a-hole. A wedding is a mutual event, and you deciding the one thing that only concerns you and your mother, the song you dance to, is very little deciding power. But your fiance's hang-up on your sister is super weird. Going so far as threatening to cancel the wedding over a song is crazy. Why is she so obsessed and angry with your sister? If you can't figure that out, you should worry about how your marriage looks like. My girlfriend, 20 female, and I, 20 male, have been dating just over a year. She is wonderful, and I've never been happier with someone else. We both attend the same university and both live off campus in separate houses. When I was younger, a college account was set up for me, which pays for my tuition. I still have to pay rent and groceries. I have a summer job that I work 50 to 60-hour weeks in order to pay for rent and food, and have some spending money to go out. My girlfriend does not have a college account and refuses to take out loans. She pays for tuition, rent, and groceries. Her parents are very stingy with their money and will help her only enough to get by. She pays rent and they help with some tuition. They also give her an allowance of $40 every 2 weeks for groceries. Because of her parents' lack of help, she never has enough money to do anything. Every time we go out or want to go on a trip with friends, she will not pay. She'll always say, "Oh, just go without me." But as a boyfriend, I don't want her to miss out, and it also makes me look bad if I don't pay for her to come. I've brought up the idea of her getting a job at school, and she claims that it will not leave her enough time for her schoolwork. I want her to come out with friends and be able to do things with all of us, but I don't think I should have to feel obligated to pay every single time. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You don't have to pay for everything. Maybe she puts off getting a job because she knows it will always work out anyway without one, as you end up paying. If you cut down on paying for everything, she may get a job. Not the a-hole. She's guilt-trapping you into paying for her expenses and stuff. The fact that she's not willing to get a job either also shows that. I wouldn't let that slide. Not the a-hole. It is a tricky situation because I as a guy feel like I should pay. But it's different when you're a student. You're not exactly in the best position to provide for other people. As harsh as it is, she should probably get a job 2 to 3 nights a week.